go even further beyond!
Yeah, my name is Zakashi, and in this video we're going to be going through an equipment guide to basically make your team as strong as possible. Probably the most free to play way to actually get your team strong as hell without actually summoning and getting extra stars, doing all the Zenkai stuff, pulling extra characters. You can actually just buff your team up, the same team that you have, make it way better without doing that much, honestly. But yeah, this is going to be a really good guide, and I know a lot of people are going to be wondering about some of the information in this video. So if you haven't already, make sure to press that subscribe button on the grind to 10k. I've been saying that for a bit. We're very close and we've got 2 months left. So if you find this video useful, or you really just find my channel appealing, make sure to press that subscribe button. All my socials on the left, so if you don't follow me, this is a YouTube channel, but we got Twitter, Twitch, Reddit, Instagram, and the Discord link all in the description below. So make sure to check me on all of those, mainly the Discord. I'll be most active on the Discord, so hit me up there. But yeah, let's actually get into this video. So for the main example of this whole video, I'm mainly going to use the fusion team because it works very well to explain what I want to explain, and then you can just apply everything that I'm applying with the fusion team to your own team. So people always ask me, it's probably the most frequent question that I often see pop up: how do you get Z equips? What's the best equipment? Do you have any equipment suggestions for this team? Things like that. Just mainly just suggesting about equipments. Now you can see my equipment. I'm often running Z equips, but don't be swayed by the Z equips too much. Z equips are just fancy equipments. They're not always, I'm gonna say mainly they are, because obviously the higher the equipment, the better it is. But it's not always something you should fear. I know in PvP I bring Z equipments because, not gonna lie, everything I'm telling you in this video, I don't follow it through all the way to the brim, just based off the fact that I'm not that bothered. It's just a game. But if I did, literally, I'd be such an unstoppable force with the teams that I have as well. But yeah, I'm gonna go into the fusion team just to show you what I'm trying to explain. So you can see with my equipment here, if I go to view all, they're actually all Z, like I was explaining. That looks fancy, but I just bring it so I can scare the opponent. Maybe they think I'm a real tryhard, which you would actually think if you see someone with full Z equips in PvP. You think, oh, they're definitely a full tryhard. But yeah, I've got this team here, but don't be swayed by the equipment fully. I'm going to show you some flaws in my own team, which will actually show you how much better I could actually make it. So in a fusion team, you know, you usually see Vegito Blue and Kefla. They're the main two that are always getting run because they're strike orientated and they do a lot of damage. Vegito Blue draws in a lot of strike arts. Kefla, she changes all her blast arts to strike arts, and she does insane strike damage, and it gets buffed through her strike arts. So off the rip, because they both carry strike arts, you're always going to have 4 strike arts minimum. You know how, like, if you look into characters, if I go to Vegito Blue, they always have 2 strike arts. If I look at his stat, his strike arts is clearly better than his blast arts. So mainly strike arts is going to be his thing. He's strike oriented. They're both melee types as well. You can see her strike arts is insanely better than her blast arts, and she carries 2 strike arts, so why not? And then you guys know her unique ability. She just gets buffs all over the place. So yeah, that's enough about that. Let's go back into the equipment. Based on the team that I have, it would make sense that all my equipment have some sort of strike buff, because I want to be boosting what is carrying my team. There's no point of bringing up my blast arts because the strike arts could be insanely damaging instead of trying to balance out everything. I could be killing people in 4 strike arts. Literally, if I just boosted all my strike arts buffs instead of trying to balance it out and say, let's kill them in like 8 strike arts and then also have the blast arts do similar damage. It doesn't make sense to do that. So look at what your team uses and then prioritize that specific type of arts card to actually make your team as strong as possible. So if I look at my equipment, with Vegito Blue, the first equipment here is actually a strike buffing card. So that's amazing. The slot here is 1 strike attack 14% and it goes to 15%. That's pretty high. It's a yellow slot. So that's nice for me overall. If I go to the second one here, this gives a strike attacks buff to every fusion member on my team. So that's pretty neat as well. If I had 6 of these and they were all 5%, can you imagine everybody getting 30% more strike arts cards off this one equipment? Even if this equipment was really bad with the first 2 slots, this could be a literal B equipment. But if this slot here was yellow, that's insane for the whole team. And can you see how that would literally make everybody do 30% more strike damage? That's insane. But just based off I don't have that, you can see that's like an immediate flaw that I could easily implement to every single fusion character on my team. That would help me out insanely. This one here, it doesn't actually buff strike in any way, shape or form. So even though it's a Z and like I said it's intimidating, it's not the best bet for my actual fusion team or Vegito Blue. So I should actually take that off, but I'm just using it because it's a Z equip and it's frightening. One thing I also do want to touch on is actual equipment. So this is more about guiding you to know what equipment to use for your team, but I do want to show you guys the best bet for you to actually get Z equipments. So on my team you can see I've got loads of Z equipments here. For the main part it's random, so I know people are going to leave comments on this question, oh how do you get Z equips? You didn't answer how you get Z equips. Z equipments are lucky. If you don't get a Z equip, you were just unlucky, honestly. But I can show you how to increase your chances of getting a Z equipment. So in this case, all my equipments here, you can actually peep, they all have a first slot that is either yellow or red. There's no point in me keeping my equipment if it's not the first slot isn't yellow or red, because honestly, if the first slot isn't yellow or red, you're just lowering your chances off the rip based on the fact that you can't use a removal slot on the first slot. So if I actually come out of the fusion team here and I'm gonna go to my equipment, I'm gonna pick any equipment that pops up here first. Okay, I'll select it. I didn't have to do it that way, but you can see here I can only use removal slots on the second or the third slot. So the first slot is always locked in from the jump. So if it's not a yellow slot or a red slot, a yellow slot preferably being a C rank, the D ranks are a bit iffy because they can be a yellow slot but really low level. So then you might not get a Z equip even if you have 3 yellow slots. For example, this equipment here, and I'm going to speak about this later as well. This has 3 yellow slots, but because it was a D at the start, it doesn't actually reach Z. So just because you have 3 yellows, it's going to irritate you a lot. So you have to peep the numbers on how close it is to the max limit. This one's 15%, but this is 13.8. That's really low. I should really have aimed for 14% or higher to actually get the maximum possible buff. But then I still went for my chances. Like I said, I'm not that bothered. And then I ended up actually just getting an S rank, which doesn't look appealing. However, the equipment itself is actually good. It buffs hybrid things. So yeah, that's really good in that sense. A resource that I really want to show you to actually help you get the best stats out of your equipment and literally just make sure that you don't waste your time, increase your chances of actually getting multiple Z equipments on the right equipment, is this Legends DBZ Space website here. I'm going to change the screen to show you. So you can see they actually have an equipment section on their page. Literally go to items here and then you actually look for equipment. It's right there on the top left, and then you can see all the equipments pop up. If you want to really find them quick, they have like literally filters that you can actually do. But the one I'm going to base on was the one that I was just showing you, which is down here over here. And that equipment which I just showed you has the exact numbers and whatnot. So I'm going to actually switch back here so you can actually see the specifics of it. I believe it was this equipment. No, it's this one. It's this one I wanted to base it on. So this one here has a 13.85 equip. So let me just change that back. You can see it's an S tier. This one is 7.1, so 7.10, same thing. And then this one here is 6.95. Just like my equipment, so the third 3 here, and I literally have it the same way on my Legends DBZ Space website. So you can see here the numbers there, the numbers there, and the numbers there. So usually what you'd want to do, the lowest slot, you'd want to actually increase it. So in this case, I can't change the first slot like I just told you, so that's already my downfall. But if I look at these 2 slots, they both have an 8% slot maximum. So that makes it easy for me to decide, which one do I really need to use a removal slot on? It would usually be the lower one. So I'd look at this one here, and it's actually 6.95 in comparison to this one is 7.10 or 7.1. So I'd be using my removal slot on this one here. So if I actually do that, you can see all I had to do is pretty much slide it and see how much I need more to actually get a Z tier. And you can see literally all I needed to do was bring it to 7.15. And if I go back to Dragon Ball Legends, you can actually see that I'm not that far off, honestly. It was that much off to actually get a Z tier, but I was just unfortunate because I left the first slot weak. So I'd have to keep reloading this one to get it that much higher and hope for a Z tier. And using this website here that I just showed you, you can do that for every equipment to know which ones are worth actually upgrading. If you've got a bad first slot, you can also check if it's actually worth it. For example, say this equipment here was let's say 7.85, but I needed it at 7.9 to be a Z tier. There's actually no point of doing that. Chances are I'm going to get a lower equip, so there's no point of me actually going for the higher aim. Do you see what I'm working with there? So basing it off that, that's pretty much everything you need to know about Z equipments. This is an awakened equipment. Pretty much, I'm going to give it to you plain and simple. Equipment awakening is not worth your time because the rates are already low as hell. So I'd say ignore the equipment awakening section unless you want to go that extra step further when you've already got good equipment. They're pretty expensive to do, and the chances of you actually getting a Z or a S, even at that, with these equipments are so low. So I don't even bat an eye at the equipment awakening, but I just go for these ones here. And hopefully you guys actually work on actually getting your best slots. I forgot to switch the screen back to this one, and I was explaining loads, but simply what I was going to say is this fusion team could be way better than it is, simply off the fact that if I had all S equipments and I had 3 equipments for each character using these 3 equipments I'm going to point out. So this one here, this one gives strike attack 15%. Say every slot was 15%. Every character here is getting 15% more strike attack off rip. That's insane. If I had this equipment here, it's 5% strike attack for every fusion warrior. So on top of that, every character here is going to get 30% if every character had the 5% buff. So 30% on top of this 15% that we've already got. That's insane. And then this one here, it gives 20%. So imagine every character on top of that getting 20% more strike attack. Every other stat doesn't even matter, because if I land a strike attack on any opponent, it's going to rip them to shreds just based off the stat boost that I'm giving them. And then on top of that, you already know how Kefla and Vegito Blue are with their actual kit. So it just makes it something difficult to tackle. It doesn't even have to be, obviously, if those slots were red, then the equipment will probably be Z, but it doesn't have to be like that. You can literally just work on the slots more specifically. They'd probably end up at S tiers, but that would make a better team than if you was to fish for these Zs so they can look nice. Like in a lot of cases, they don't even have strike increases, so it's not actually helping me out as much as it could. You can see Kefla here, I got her looking clean, I got her looking nice, but this equipment here doesn't buff strike art, so I'm actually putting myself at a disadvantage here. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. I know there's other slots on the equipments, but it's always good to boost your main stat. Your main stat on the team is what's going to get you the win. You're going to use that card more often, and it's just going to carry you through the battle. Like if I load this one up here, if you guys didn't know, this video is actually dragging on, but I feel like it's really important. You can actually see how many cards of each thing you're going to bring. So I told you Vegito Blue carries 2, so I'd instantly increase strike arts. I'm going to be seeing more strike arts than blast arts because I've already got 5, and then the blast art I've only got 3. You have a base of 3 of each and then 1 of each. But then I'll increase that to 2. Kefla will increase it to 2, and this Vegito, he carries 1 of each, so they'd increase by 1 and then 1 there. But if you could bring someone that actually has 2 strike arts, this Vegito has 2 strike arts, so I could be doing 9, and on top of that doing the most strike damage that I've ever seen in my life. So just think about that, mainly over anything you do with equipment. But yeah, I made this video quite long, but hopefully it was very informative. Yeah, just make your team stronger and you'll be good, trust me. It's not all about stars, it's not all about the characters, You can make your team strong just off equipment, honestly. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like that. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.